कोई खिड़की तो खुली खुली खुली, तभी ऐसा लगे ढली रात है रात है रात है। डरी 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 दबे दबे दबे, पैरों से वो चली कांच की घास पे घास पे घास पे। खाली सी डिब्बी में हुई वो कैद थी, चंदा की मारी हमने गुलेल थी, तारों की चाबी से खुली सफेद सी सुबह 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 सुबह। जुगनी उड़ी नए नए पर लिए, ओ पिंजरा खो ओ पिंजरा खो। जुगनी उड़ी दिल में घर किए, ओ पिंजरा खो ओ पिंजरा खो।
Hi everybody. Hi everybody.
Hi. Hello, ma'am.
Good evening,
Hi.
ma'am.
I
Hello,
would
ma'am.
request all of you
Hello,
to
ma'am.
mute yourself.
Good evening.
Okay. I have muted everyone. Thank you for joining this session. We are just waiting for Dr. Meenakshi Bharat. We will be starting the session soon. But before Meenakshi comes, I would like to say a big, huge thank you to everyone for joining this session. I mean, it's wonderful to have all of you over here. I'm Padma from Stone Soup Trust. Stone Soup works in the area of zero waste cities, and we will be talking more about it. I have with me Smitha Kulkarni. She is one of the founders of Stone Soup. She'll be talking to you about why sustainable menstruation. We also will have with us Dr. Meenakshi Bharat. I think Meenakshi is trying to get into the call. She's trying to call me. I'll just attend to her call. Smita, can you please take on? I think Meenakshi is having some problem. Yeah. Smita will talk about Stone Soup Trust and the kind of work that we do.
So hi everyone, nice to see all of you attending. We hit a century already, and we are also streaming live on YouTube. In case you're not able to log in or your friends are not able to log in, do share the YouTube channel, stonesoup.in. That's the YouTube channel. So thank you so much for joining today. You must be wondering why, what is stone soup? It seems like something to do with stones or something to do with food. It's none of that actually. There's a small story about it's called a stone soup story. You must have heard, but you may not be remembering it in this context. It's there in multiple cultures.
Smita,
A group of travelers
1 second. Sorry to
go from
interrupt.
place to place, and when they visit one particular village, they decide to rest there, and they are very hungry. So they knock on the door of one of the farmers, and they ask the farmer, can you spare some food for us? So the farmer says, नहीं नहीं मेरे लिए काफी नहीं है. I don't have, I just have a few potatoes. मैं परिवार को I don't know what I'll feed my family. I can't give anything to you. Then they go and knock on the other next door. So that guy says, I only have one cauliflower. I don't know what to do with it, so I can't help you. Sorry. So nobody gives any food to them, and they're still very hungry. So what they do is they go to the nearby stream, river, fill some water in a pot, the mud pot, add some rounded pebbles, and start boiling in the middle of the road. So all the villagers are very curious कि ये लोग कर क्या रहे हैं? What are they doing? And they come and they ask कि what is happening? What are you doing? So they say that we are making stone soup. They're like, stone soup? What is stone soup? We have never heard of it. And they say, oh, you have never heard? It's very it's delicious. You must taste it. Just wait for some time. After it's ready, I will give you also. And then they act like they're mixing, and they act like they're tasting, and they say, if there were some potatoes in this, the gravy will become thick and nice. So one of the person says, I have a few potatoes, I'll get. So he adds potatoes. Similarly, all the villagers, one by one, they add cauliflower, they add spices, tomatoes, carrots, everyone contributes to the soup. And at the end of the day, it really becomes a nice and nourishing soup. Not only the travelers have it, but all the entire village has it, and everyone enjoys a nice meal. So this is something that we really felt that we could identify with it. What we want to do is solve the garbage problem. We feel very strongly for the garbage problem, and we know that we can't do it alone. We need the entire village to help us solve that problem, which is why we named ourselves Stone Soup. So as Stone Soup Trust, what we really do is create awareness on sustainable living. अभी waste management नहीं कर रहे हैं हम लोग. So it is not that waste is there on the road. How do we clean it up? What do we do? Recycle कर सकते हैं, क्या कर सकते हैं? We are not into that. We are into how the waste does not go out of your house itself. अगर आपका घर वाला डस्टबिन खाली होगा तो शहर ऑटोमेटिकली क्लीन हो जाएगा. So, and it is possible. It is not a dream or some far-fetched idea or anything like that. It is very easily possible to become zero waste. I don't know if you have heard the term zero waste, but if every household is a zero waste household, we'll have a zero waste city, right? It's as simple as that. Now, how do you go zero waste? All of us not only have one dustbin in our house, some of us even have different dustbins in different rooms, right? How do you make sure that that is empty? So about 60% of our waste is wet waste. So we have composting solutions. Basically, you can take this wet waste. It looks like waste, but when you put it in the compost bin, it becomes rich compost that will enrich the soil. So it can be fed into the local soil. जो धरती से आता है वो वापस धरती को जाता है, right? So you are recharging the soil. So that 60% of your waste is taken care. It doesn't need to go out of your house at all. And about 35% of your waste is actually recyclable waste, which is सूखा कचरा जिसे बोलते हैं, dry waste. So you can completely reduce it as far as possible. Tissue paper use कर रहे हैं, handkerchief use कीजिए. So if you are buying packaged chips, अपना कंटेनर ले जाके बगल वाला चिप्स वाले दुकान से ले आइए. As far as possible, avoid disposable. Anything that you have to throw. Whenever you throw something in the dustbin, you think, how can I not throw it? How can I not get it in the first place? How can I not buy it in the first place? ऐसा नहीं कि you should not have food or you should not have junk food. शौक से, but make sure it is packaging free. And it is possible if you just put your heart and mind to it. It is possible at every point of time. So that will get reduced. Bacha 5% of your waste, just 5%, which is sanitary waste, which is disposable diapers and sanitary pads. These can neither be composted nor be recycled. ना ये सूखा कचरा है कि ये रिसाइकल हो जाएगा, ना ही ये गीला कचरा है जो कंपोस्ट होगा. इसे हम कहते हैं रिजेक्ट वेस्ट और सैनिटरी वेस्ट. Now you'll think that it is just 5%. Why break our head on that? जो 95% है उसकी सोचते हैं, ये 5% को जाने देते हैं. But the thing is, this 5%, if it gets mixed in the 95%, all of it will become hazardous waste. सोचिए कोई पैड या डायपर गीला कचरे में डाल देगा, it will go into compost bin. Our farmers will grow food with that. Similarly, if it goes into a recycling plant, all the dry waste centers, the recycling plants, everyone has touched it. It's a risk to everyone. During Corona times, we are extra prone to all these things, right? So, which is why one of our major things is focusing on this 5% of our waste, which is our sanitary waste. Today's session is going to be on this. What can we do about it? And usually, if we see what is bad for the environment is also equally harmful for the health. And usually what is bad for the environment and health is ultimately harmful for the pocket also. So, usually we will see how we can do all together. What you say, win-win situation. ऐसा नहीं कि eco-friendly जा रहे हैं तो फिर it will be expensive. और ऐसा नहीं है कि if you're going for something which is good for health, it will be bad for the environment. It is usually never that. All of them are linked together. So let's start the session. I'm just going to start the presentation.
So we also have with us Dr. Meenakshi Bharat. Meenakshi, you're there?
I'm there.
Yes. So Dr. Meenakshi Bharat is a leading gynecologist. She is also a SWMRT member. She is a waste champion. She has been working in the area of sustainable menstruation and waste management for more than 2 decades now. Welcome, Meenakshi. She will be talking to you about sustainable menstruation. First of all, why sustainable menstruation and what is sustainable menstruation?
So do you want me to start or is Smita starting?
You please.
Meenakshi, I want you to talk about the problems and I'll show the solutions.
Okay. So there are actually three problems. We put it down as health, we put it down as environment, and we put it down as economics. So being a gynecologist, I'm primarily concerned about the health problems that a woman has because she's using disposable sanitary napkins. And it's extremely important for us to understand that. Next. So pads, when I started my periods in 1970, these were the pads that I was using. Later on, the pads became like this. This used to be very uncomfortable. Within 4 hours, it would all become little pieces of different pieces of cotton with little blood on it. Then came these pads which had a sticker behind it. Then the pads became thinner. Between this and this, you can see that it has become thinner. And when it has become thinner, then these pads became better. They were wings so that the panty wouldn't get stained. And then there was another packet around it wherein we would put this plastic into another plastic and then throw it out. But all this was not known to us. We were blissfully ignorant. We were thinking that, wow, what an innovation. Next. Nowhere in the pads does it say what are the ingredients of the pad. So we have lots of funny things in the pad. We have adhesive chemicals because the pad then has to stick onto the cotton of the panty. And then we have unknown fragrances because they want to hide the smell of the blood that is produced by the pad. When the pad is soaked in blood, then the pad gives a funny smell, and all of us know about that smell. There is also pesticide residues, and the pad has to be bleached. And because it is bleached, there are dioxins and furans. Smita, will you put my face there?
Sorry?
You put your face off as the speaker and get my face in as the speaker. Side by side speaker. Switch it off.
Your face is only there, Meenakshi.
I'm not getting it.
Can you pin her video?
I'm trying to.
All right. ठीक है, doesn't matter. So this is what उसको डाई करने में सफेद दिखने में dioxins and furans इस्तेमाल होता है, and therefore we have a whole lot of problems. The simplest problem that each one of us faces is that allergic rash. पहले दिन पीरियड पे कुछ नहीं रहेगा, दूसरे दिन शुरू हो जाता है, और तीसरे दिन हर औरत को, हर लड़की को रोना आता है क्योंकि ये रैश जो थाइस पे है, इट इज रियली अनकंफर्टेबल. इसके बाद बहुत से लोगों को थायराइड डिस्फंक्शन आ गया है, और जब आप शादीशुदा होके प्रेग्नेंट होना चाहते हैं तो इसमें भी तकलीफ होती है, एंड फाइनली कैंसर का भी चांसेस ज्यादा हो जाता है. नेक्स्ट. जब डिस्पोज करते हैं तो हर पैड 6-8 घंटे यूज करके हम उसको फेंक देते हैं. हर पैड 10 या 15 पैड्स एक महीने में इस्तेमाल होता है. एंड इमेजिन बैंगलोर में 100,000 kgs एटलीस्ट ऑफ सैनिटरी वेस्ट पर डे बनता है, उत्पत्ति होता है. But so this is a problem that we are all facing. If Bangalore has so much of waste, what about the other cities that have more waste than Bangalore because they have more population and more women? इसको हम फेंक देते हैं बाहर, and even if we wrap it in a paper packet with a big cross on it, it doesn't work. The dog comes and tears it up, And these women who work, men and women who work with waste, have to handle it manually, and they're exposed to health hazards, infections, diseases, cough, lung problems, all they are exposed to it. Next. Next. All right. What happens to the sanitary pad? She picks it up and she either sends it into the lorry or she throws it in the land dump that is next to your house. So it's dumped there, and then the dog comes and tears it up. And then there are women who are trying to get a livelihood out of it, and they have to rummage between all this garbage that is there to find something of value. So it cannot be recycled, it cannot be reused, it lands up in the landfill and will not degrade. We all say it takes 500 to 800 years to degrade. Plastic doesn't degrade. It becomes tinier and tinier, not visible to our eyes, and it becomes micro beads. And then it will be eaten up by the plankton. The plankton will be eaten up by the fish. The fish will be picked up by the fishermen. And when we eat fish, it comes in our plate. Have you seen that wonderful ad where that man is firing the person on the in the restaurant, saying, how can you give me this kachada fish which has plastic inside it? And he says, sir, हमने नहीं किया, ये फिश अपने आप उसको खा के आपके प्लेट पे आया है, क्योंकि आप कचरा को बाहर फेंकते हो. So seriously, like Smita said, we have to reduce using things that will produce garbage. The less we throw, the better is our environment and the better it is for our own health. So serious environmental and health effects are there. And when these pads are burnt, they produce something called as dioxins and furans, which are transparent gases, which are not available to, not, we cannot see them. If it's a purple gas, we will see. If it's a yellow gas, we will see, but these are transparent gases. And all colleges and apartment complexes will have these micro incinerators, which heat it up to less than 800 degrees, so that reaction which produces the dioxins is not broken down, and these are really, really carcinogenic. Next. So next is everybody. So the sanitation impact is when these pads are thrown into the toilet, the pad swells. And that is the advertisement they say. They're showing a lake and the whole of the lake can go into a single pad. Can it happen? No, but there is a super absorbent gel which is inside it, which makes it bloat 1 millimeter to 30 centimeters. 30 times it becomes, 3 centimeters it becomes, and then it fills up the drain. And then these Safai Karmacharis have to go into the drain to manually extract it. Kyuki it has to be extracted from all the nooks and corners of the drain. Bichare, inka kya galti hai ki aisa kaam karenge? But we are the people who are guilty because we throw the pad into the drain, into the pot. Next. Next. So the next one is biodegradable pads and tampons. Everybody says, okay, plastic nahi chahiye, par biodegradable hai. Biodegradable kahan se banta hai? Means it has to be made of food. It's either potato starch or it's corn starch or it's bamboo. These are expensive pads, and these are single-use disposable still. And who will compost this? If they are biodegradable, it means that it needs to be composted. It composts under industrial circumstances. It does not compost when you compost it at home. And will you actually compost your pad with your food waste at home? No, you don't do it. So it still goes to the landfill. Next. So on an average, what do we spend? You will be spending anything between 50 and 150 rupees per month. And if you're only spending 50 rupees, then you're going to get 8 pads. And if you don't have money to buy more than 8 pads, then you will use each pad for longer than it can be used. So the pad will be full of blood, but because you don't have money to buy more pads, then you will use it for a longer time and therefore land up with more rash, more smell, and more infection. So on an average, a woman would spend anything between 50,000 rupees and a lakh of rupees in her lifetime to buy these disposable sanitary napkins. It's a lot of money. So what we are wanting is a no rash, no cash, no trash program. So there is period poverty, whether you are in America, whether you are in England, whether you are in Europe, whether you are in Africa, whether you are in India, or whether you are in Southeast Asia. There is something called period poverty where the women world over do not have money to buy hygienic products, which are the disposable sanitary napkin. They are considered to be hygienic, but truly they are not. They are full of problems. So we are spending money buying pads which are not good for our health, which are truly not hygienic, and then saying that we are in trouble. Next. So cloth diapers for children are also the same. When we use cloth diapers, we are spending a lot of money. In India, a diaper is about 10 rupees a day. At 10 rupees a diaper, and we would be using between 6 and 10 diapers in a day for the young child. And as it grows older, we'll be using more. But if we use cloth diapers like this, we will be spending just a small amount of money, creating no garbage, having my baby not get any infection, having my baby not get any rash, and truly not produce any trash. And the baby gets potty trained earlier. Next. So you have to look at solutions, which are wonderful solutions. The solutions are cost effective. The solutions are very comfortable to use. And as a gynecologist, I love these solutions. And the cloth pads are also wonderful. So no trash, no rash, and no cash. Smita, take over.
Yeah, before Smita takes over, I forgot to mention in the beginning, at the end of the session, we would be circulating a questionnaire also, where you would be asked to answer a few questions before we hire you into this program. So please keep your ears open. And, if you have any doubts, please type it on the chat box. Please don't we will take the doubts after Smita finishes her, talk. Thank you. Yes, Smita.
Hi, everyone. Um,
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Hi.
Hello, ma'am.
So,
Good evening, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. Good evening.
Hello, ma'am. Good evening.
Okay.
Hello, ma'am. Good evening. Good evening, ma'am.
like Meenakshi said, there are a lot of problems with the disposable pads, both health-wise, environment-wise, money-wise. But what are the solutions? Even though some of us are aware about the problem a little bit here and there, we are not clear on, what are the exact solutions. We can't go back to using cloth like how our mothers used to use. So these are the new age solutions. This is, what Meenakshi says is the what do you call second birth, punarjanam of the old cloth pads. Let me just disable the virtual background. It's becoming very difficult. Yeah. So this is how cloth pads look like. I'm going to stop sharing the screen as well because I want to show the Right. So this is what the cloth pads look like. They are available in different sizes. right from the small panty liner to the medium sized pad to the large heavy pads. There are several other designs available as well. So as you can see, they're all nice and colorful. Why do we say that they are the improved version of the old cloth that women used to use? Is because they have wings and they have this leak proof layer behind. So the way to use it is it gets fastened like this with the button here behind the underwear. This is the sides that, this is the side that absorbs all the vaginal discharge like this. You can, after use, you can fold up the pad like this and bring back home, either in your pocket or your purse or in a pouch like this. You can also use this pouch to carry extra pads. My daughter has been using these pads for the past 3 years. What she does is at the end of the day, comes home, takes out all the soiled pads, opens it up, soaks it in a mug of cold water, squeezes out the excess blood, either washes with hand or tosses it in the washing machine along with the other clothes. So far, none of the other clothes have got stained or stink because of this, and it just comes out fine. The most important part about cloth pads is that it should dry in the sun. You must have seen a lot of actors and prominent people talking about how cloth causes infections and cancer and all that stuff. So it is not the cloth that causes infection, because all of us wear cloth on a daily basis, right? I mean, even underwear is made from cloth. It is the way in which it is managed which is the problem. So even if cloth is put for drying in the sun, we end up putting a towel on top of it, or put it for drying behind the bathroom door, because of the whole stigma around menstruation. We don't put it a menstrual cloth out in the open for drying. We want to somehow hide it. We want to whisper about it. So that is something that needs to change. So when we put this, out in the sun, all the layers get sanitized automatically. Sun is the best sanitizer we've got today, considering the COVID scenario. And all of us are worried about, sanitizing everything around us. So sun is the best sanitizer we've got. It should dry out in the sun. If there is no sun, if it is cloudy, fine. It should dry out in shade also is okay. But the thing is, it should dry properly, and there should be no dampness in this. That's when it's properly safe and sanitized to use. The other thing is, if you're a little embarrassed about, this looks like a sanitary care product. If someone is embarrassed about putting it out in the sun, then there are other designs available. They call this as Dharwad pad. This also has wings, and this also has a leak-proof layer. It's just that when it's put for drying, it opens up after washing. During washing, you can just open it up so that every layer is cleaned nicely. And when you put it out for drying, it looks discreet. It doesn't look like a sanitary care product. And of course, when you use it, you fold it up like this and you use it. And also because every layer is opened up, it dries much better. So all the layers get the equal share of sunlight. There are other designs called as Ladli pad, which is basically a jacket and an insert model. So the jacket is the leak-proof part. If it gets stained, all you need to do is wipe it with a wet towel. You don't need to keep washing it every time. During the entire period cycle of 3 to 5 days, the same jacket can be used with different inserts. The inserts are the ones which absorb, and the inserts are the ones which have to be washed on a regular basis. This also opens up and it looks like more like a napkin. And if you run out of inserts, if you're a heavy flow person, you can always add your own fabric, whatever dupattas or soft saris. There's nothing special about this. It's just pure unbleached Kora cotton. So it is extremely absorbent, but we have our old, saris, dhotis, which are also very highly absorbent. So you can supplement that with this if you want, if you're a heavy bleeder and if you run out of inserts. So this is the Ladli model. There are many such designs in cloth pads, and both colored as well as uncolored. But apart from that, there are other options as well. One other option is menstrual cup. It looks something like this. It is basically made from medical grade silicone. So it is a flexible cup. You can imagine the baby feeding bottle nipples, right? It is something somewhat similar material. It's medical grade silicone. It's a flexible cup like this. The way to use it is basically there are two folds. I'm going to show you the first fold, which is a U fold. Flatten the cup like this and make a U and sit in the Indian squatting position and insert into your vagina. So the pad is outside the vagina. This has to go inside the vagina. It collects all the menstrual blood, and periodically you need to pinch the base, take it out, empty the contents in the drain or sink, wash it nicely, and reinsert. So 1 cup, it does not absorb anything. It collects and you empty it, collects and you empty it. So 1 cup lasts for 10 years. So 10 years, no waste. The same cup can be used, reused for as many as 120 periods. That's 10 years. So imagine the saving on the waste. It's literally zero waste. At the end of 10 years, it will just be 25 grams of this. So it is literally zero waste program. And apart from that, it is extremely good for the health. It is safe to use. It's silicone. It's non-stick. There's no good or bad things that get stuck to this, right? So it's absolutely non-stick. Plus, it is used in the medical industry, whether it's catheters, chemoports, implants, or stents, any of these. It's extensively used in the medical field because it's very inert and non-reactive and absolutely safe to use. So it is good for the health. It is good for the environment. And like I said earlier, anything that's good for the health and the environment is automatically good on the pocket. So 1 cup costs around less than 1,000 rupees, and it will last for 10 years. So in 10 years, women end up spending somewhere around 30 to 40,000 rupees on disposables. So compare 30,000 to less than 1,000. So it's actually around 9 rupees per month. If you actually calculate it, you'll recover the cost of the cup in the first 3 to 4 months of usage itself. So it saves money. So that's why Meenakshi said, it's a no rash, no trash, and a no cash program. It's good on all the fronts. There's only of course it's good for health, it's good for environment, and it's good on the pocket. But the main reason why people are using, or why the word is spreading on the menstrual cup, is because of the sheer comfort. You can run marathons, you can travel to the remotest of places, you can basically do anything. Periods are like invisible, so you can just about do anything in your own periods. And that's the sole reason why the word on this has spread so much. Every user is just screaming about it, on top of on rooftops, and just telling about it to all her friends, girlfriends, cousins, relatives. Someone like Meenakshi herself is been talking about it on several platforms, not just women oriented platforms. It is like whether it's gynecologists, or whether it's Rotarians, or whether it's national, international, on all platforms. So it's something that amazing, because it wins on all the front, both on the environment aspect, health aspect, as well as comfort. So our whole perception that something to live an eco-friendly life, you have to make sacrifices, is completely reversed by this. This is something you have to use even if you don't have don't care about the environment or the health. This is something that works for everyone. There is something for everyone in this. So this is an amazing product, and I'm sure a lot of people have a lot of questions around it. There's a whole fear of insertion, and this is something that I won't say that it's rubbish or anything, because I myself had that, and I myself kept it for 6 months before actually trying it on. So this is a fear which is real. Face it. I mean, there are so many fears that we face on a day-to-day basis. This is also one of them. This is something that we need to overcome and try it. So if you have any questions regarding either the cup or the cloth pads, type in the chat box here, or in the chat box in the YouTube live. Both Meenakshi and me will be happy to answer. Meenakshi, you want to add something? Okay, I'm going to go over the questions. Okay, the most common questions. I'm very happy to see that instead of asking questions on the product itself, people are asking, where do I buy? So this is an awesome thing. Like, we as Stone Soup are into making both the cloth pads as well as the menstrual cups. This is a cup made in India. If you go there, it is available in a few stores like Health and Glow and Apollo Pharmacy and stuff like that. But most of it is available online. Now, if you go online, there are cups available for much cheaper also, like 200, 300. There are cups available at more expensive, 3,000, 4,000 also. They are the imported cups coming from the West. And the cheaper cups are coming, basically they're called China cheapies. So thankfully now in Amazon and Nika, everywhere, there is a field added saying country of origin. So, go for the middle range around 1,000. I would actually say go for stone soup cups because, it does not, many cups in the market have something called as a stem. So stone soup cups don't have that stem. And the reason is, even if when I said it is inserted into the vagina and it forms an airlock, because of the airlock, whether you jump, swim, travel, or even do headstand, it does not leak. And that's the amazing quality about the cup. But the thing is, if you try to pull the cup with the stem, let me just get the cup with the stem, something like this, right? So if you try to pull the stem when there is an airlock, you might end up hurting yourself, right? So it is not a pull out stem. This stem is to be used just to locate the base of the cup. You have to pinch the base to release the airlock and then take it out. So then the stem actually is vestigial, right? I mean, there's no need for it just to be there. So women end up cutting it, trimming it. Then you have to file it because there are rough edges. So when we had the opportunity to design our own cup, we totally removed the stem. Instead, we added these grip lines. So in design, it's called idiot proofing, right? So if you have to take up, you have to pinch it. And when you pinch it, you release the airlock and it's easier to take out. So all of these cups have what is called as air holes, if you can see. So when you pinch the base, the air is released from the holes, airlock is released, you can take out, empty and insert it again. So it is available online, it's available on stonesoup.in, it's available in Nika and Amazon also. Both the cloth pads as well as the menstrual cups. For how many hours these cloth pads can be used? So it depends on your bleeding. The cloth pads can be used for up to 4 to 6 hours or even longer, but preferably change the pads even if there is, the entire pad has not got soaked. Prefer to change the pads every 6 hours, because that's the time. Otherwise, the blood will start to interact with the oxygen and start developing bacteria. Is it better than normal sanitary pads? So the thing is, it is better in terms of health, in terms of environment, in terms of comfort. It feels more like fabric. You'll not have the plasticky feel the way you would when you're using a pad. But also there is no dry weave cover here, so you will feel the wetness. It is not that it will be completely dry, feeling like the way it is with disposable pads. So yeah, that is there, but still it feels natural. This is something you'll experience only when you use it. So it feels very natural, just like your underwear is.
Yes, Asmita, I will read out the questions.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Does it cause any diseases? Meenakshi?
I would like Meenakshi to answer that.
Answer. And what about, there's a lot of question on hymen also.
Yeah, I'll answer those questions. So for diseases, basically your clothes that you're wearing is made of cotton or it's made of nylon. Now, if it's made of nylon, it produces heat, especially now that summer is on and temperatures are 33 to 35 degrees centigrade during the day. You will have heat because of the rash. That's why we have all shifted to cotton clothes. After, 20 years ago, a lot of us were wearing nylon. We have now stopped wearing synthetics. We are back to wearing cottons. And so those cottons do not produce any infection if you wash them regularly. So this cotton pad has to be washed regularly and dried in the sun. Don't dry it in your bathroom at the back where there is no ventilation and where there is dampness. So that's primary. It doesn't produce infection if you wash it nicely and dry it. Now the pad, which is blood stained, has to be washed in water. Soak it in normal tap water, hopefully not boiling water if you have a solar. So don't use the hot water, use the cold water tap. Put it into a mug half a mug of water, soak it for 10 minutes. By the time you've finished your bath, you can squeeze the pad and, take out the blood, then put a little soap, wash it, little soap, wash it, and then hang it out in the sun. It is important that you take those few minutes extra to make your pad hygienic, not sterile, hygienic. Remember, it's hygiene and not sterility. There is no sterility in this world. The sterility is when you have no bacteria. Without bacteria, we cannot live. We have bacteria in our gut that is utilizing the food and releasing the food for absorption. So if you kill all the bacteria, that is around you, your skin will go, your mouth will have ulcers, you will have loads and loads of problem. So be hygienic and not sterile. Okay, that's primary. Two, if you everybody is asking what happens to my hymen if I am going to use the cup, and I am somebody who has not had intercourse, who is not yet married, not sexually active, what happens to my hymen? Now the hymen is a big issue about a little tissue. I'm holding this, can you see this? This is the hymen, which is exaggerated by maybe 20 times. The hymen is only this much, about a centimeter square. And in that hymen, there is a hole. Can you see my finger coming through that hole? Because each of us, even if we are not sexually active, are actually bleeding. If the hymen was an imperforate hymen, you would get no bleeding, and then you would get severe abdominal pain, because then the blood, once you start bleeding, once you attain menarche, will all collect in the vagina. Then after the vagina, it will collect in the uterus, then it will collect in the tube, and then it will come into your abdomen. So you don't want that to happen. So therefore, there is already a hole. Now, this hymen is so small that if you are jumping, running, cycling, basketball, whatever, this hymen becomes a little elastic and loose. That is what it is. It is not a tight, rigid, surface. So when you have intercourse, the first time that you have intercourse, that hymen doesn't burst, and the hymen doesn't have blood supply, right? So the fact that everybody expects the hymen, when you have the first intercourse, to have blood on your, क्या बोलते हैं हम, सुहागरात का सुहागरात का bedsheet. It is so funny. Okay, so no, you don't need to cut your finger and put some blood on the bed sheet. Okay, so stop worrying about your hymen. So the hymen, when you put in this cup, stretches a little bit. When you go cycling, it stretches. When you go do long jump like this, no, you're going to do long jump, it stretches. That's all it is. So the hymen is so tiny that it is little dots that you can not even see, forget feel. So there is nothing so great about the hymen. And most virgins, there is no parda in front of your entry to the vagina. All right, have I answered that question? So you can use, if you are adult or if your mother is using the cup, you can start using it before 18 years. If you are adult, 18 years plus, and you are getting to be 35 years and you are not married, don't miss using the cup, man. You can't miss using the cup, because it's the most wonderful thing. It is like your smartphone. Would you deny yourself using the smartphone? Then if you don't deny yourself using the smartphone, and the smartphone costs from 10,000 to 20 to 30 to 60 by the time you get to your latest iPhone, this is only $1,000. And the sort of comfort that this menstrual cup gives you is worth all the 60,000 rupees. So if you are missing using the cup, you're missing something that makes your period so wonderful, so comfortable, and so happy. So don't worry about it. If you're not sexually active, start using it. It takes a little learning. Out of the 2,500 days that we bleed in our lifetime, it takes 8 to 10 days to get used to inserting this cup. It's like that pressure cooker ka lid, na? You have to fix it in correctly. If you don't fit it in correctly, then it doesn't, your rice doesn't cook or your dal doesn't cook. You have to click it in. Isko bhi, you have to learn to click it in. And how do you learn to click it in? First of all, you have to mentally be ready to use it. Two, you have to learn to relax your muscles. If you're mentally ready and you say, kuch nahi hoga, mujhe thoda sa darad hai, to chalega. All of us remember that the first night was not comfortable. When the first act of sex happened and the penis was inserted, it was not a comfortable situation for any one of us. So what must you do? You must punch it down. You must take coconut oil or Vaseline, apply some lubricant, because the first day of your period, there's not much blood here, and then you insert it inside. And when you insert it inside, the vagina, which is flat, front and back is flat, will then open up, and then there is a vacuum seal that is formed. So all the blood from your uterus will fall into this cup and will be collected there. And there is nothing between your legs. So you will not even know that you are wearing a cup. In front is the bladder that holds 500 ml of urine. At the back is the rectum, which is holding 1 kg of stools. So where will this small little thing that looks like a nimbu be felt? You won't feel it at all. Or maybe if you're very sensitive, you'll feel it in the beginning. After that, you don't feel it at all. So this is the best thing that can happen to a woman. And women of every strata, my house help has used it, my my friends have used it. This is the gift that I give to every girl who gets married, who invites me for her wedding. So if you want it, invite me for your wedding and I'll give you a menstrual cup as a gift. But before that, start using it. It is so wonderful that you can have wonderful days and wonderful holidays. Okay, right.
There are
So
a lot
we
of
have,
questions.
sorry. We have 3 holes. Women have 3 holes. Men have only 2 holes. So women have 3 holes. This is the bladder. This is the rectum at the back. This is the uterus. And this is not sitting on the cervix. This is sitting in the vagina, and the blood just falls into the cup and doesn't leak. Now, if you don't use it for an hour after you've had removed it, then yes, it will leak, because the blood will collect here, and then you will say, oh, the cup is leaking. 95% of the time, the cup doesn't leak. It's only 5%. And once you know the mechanism of using it, then as you remove it, you wash it and you put it back immediately. And then you have your bath. Okay, so that this blood doesn't come into the vagina. And then because the cup is here, yahan se leak hota hai. The wonderful part of it is that you don't feel it. You don't feel the wetness. Remember, when you're wearing the pad, there is feeling of wetness. And when you get up in the morning, there is one big blob with bloop, 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 bloop coming out. So there is no feeling of wetness, because all the blood is collected inside this when you are sleeping. And when you are sleeping, you can sleep on your stomach, you can sleep on your side, you can sleep on your back without any problems. So this is a worry-free sleep if you're wearing a cup. Okay.
Okay, before we proceed any further, many people are asking, what is this session about and what are you expected to do? So we will take in more questions. Before that, I would like to clarify that this session is about sustainable menstruation, and Stone Soup Trust is looking for interns who are passionate about the cause of sustainable menstruation. You have heard Dr. Meenakshi Bharat talk about it, Smita speak about it. We are looking for champions who would help us to spread this awareness about sustainable menstruation to a wider audience. So we have tasks coming through the next week. I'll be talking more about it once we finish taking the questions, and once we finish the session on sustainable menstruation, I'll be taking you through a presentation on what we will be doing as part of internshala and what you are expected to do as an intern for Stone Soup Trust. So I would request all of you to please be patient till we finish this session. Thank you. Any other questions? How people are asking about how to sanitize the cup, and also Meenakshi, a little bit on vagina being a self-cleaning organ too.
Okay, I can take that. So people are asking how frequently to empty the cup as well. So it depends on your bleeding. Now, I'm a regular bleeder, so I empty the cup once in the morning while taking bath and once at night before sleeping. And that's good enough for me. But if you're a heavier bleeder, you might have to empty it more frequently. So first 1 or 2 periods will be the learning curve when you yourself will know that you might bleed differently on different days, right? So initial first time when you're using it, you empty it every 4 to 6 hours, and eventually you'll get a hang of it. And if you see that it's very less, then you can go on for much longer. But even if you're on your spotting days, or if you're bleeding very little, you still need to empty the cup every 12 hours at max. Like how with the pads, you need to change them or remove them after every 6 hours. Here it's double, it's every 12 hours. Meenakshi, on sterilization.
Okay, Meenakshi, wait, we can't hear you. Okay, I'll ask. Meenakshi, please unmute yourself.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, so now the question is sterilization. Mike, the vagina contains all the bacteria that's in the world, and 99% of the bacteria is non-pathogenic. That means it doesn't create any problems. It's the 1% that creates the problems. So what you must not use is what is called as a vaginal wash. Don't try to clean the vagina by using any of these washes that are great advertisements, and they entice you to buy it because for them, you buy it, it's business for them. They're not worried about whether you're going to get infection or not. So they entice you. Your vagina is going to smell like strawberries, or your vagina is going to smell like orange. The vagina has to smell like the vagina. It cannot smell like strawberries or orange. Okay, like your mouth. Okay, put in a mint and keep your mouth sterile. But how often do you do it in the day? The mouth is not stinking, has its own mechanism of keeping itself clean, right? Except for when you get up in the morning because you have, not opened your mouth through the night. Therefore, there may be a stink. But if you are healthy, usually in the morning, there is still no stink. So, all right. So you don't have to do anything about the vagina. Don't clean it and don't worry about this. This cup is made of medical grade silicone. It's like the heart stent that I would need if my arteries are blocked. It's like the catheter that I would use. It is perfectly fine. Just wash it with cold water. The vagina is acidic in nature. All of you know about acidic and alkaline. Alkaline means the pH is more than 7. Acidic means that the pH is less than 7. So this is about 3 to 4 pH. The soap that you use on this, there will be some studs left behind if you use soap, and then you will change the milieu, and then this will become pathogenic. So don't worry about it. Just drop the blood into the pot. Don't drop the cup into the pot. Drop the blood into the pot. Wash it with plain water and then insert it inside. It's just fabulous. I wish I was young like you and menstruating, but what to do? I am 63 and I can't make my uterus bleed again. If I make my uterus bleed again, then I will have to go to the gynecologist, any colleague of mine, and then have my uterus removed, which means that my uterus is ill. Okay, so
Meenakshi, for once, Meenakshi, there are a lot of participants who are also not menstruating. There are a lot of guys around. So
there are lots of guys.
Yeah.
Buy it for your mother if she is young. Buy it for your wife if you're married. Give it to your sisters and cousins, and give it to your girlfriends. Know about it. Know that there is something so wonderful. whatever is the next occasion. Ugadi is coming up, buy this as a gift. Show the box, Smita. It's such a beautiful box also. Right? Wonderful gift to give. Like I told you, every girl whose wedding I go to, I mean, if the man is the person that I know, I will gift his wife. If the girl is the person I go to, then I gift it to her. The best gift.
Abhash has brought in a very important point, that the thing is, many people in the rural areas and semi-developed area have recently shifted to contemporary pads. They were using cloth and they have now recently shifted to pads, and getting them back to cloth would be regressive. So instead, he's saying, why not go for a low-cost incinerator made of small earthen pot lined with dry leaves. This will introduce them to the problems regarding disposal slowly move them to washable pads. So I don't know about slowly,
Comfort
but
is the most important. Comfort is the most important. Disposable sanitary pads are not comfortable. To have something between your legs is not comfortable. So, in the reason they stopped using the pad is because there was no leak-proof layer behind. Smita has shown you the leak-proof layer. The leak-proof layer is what is important. But if you are 20 plus, they are all agreeable to using the menstrual cup. Introduce them to it. This is the new innovation. Hum sab, we used to cook on coal, we used to cook on wood, we used to cook on kerosene stove. But when we understood that the gas stove is cleaner, it's faster, and now those of us who have an induction cooker, use the induction cooker. You need to move. This is the smartphone for you.
Yes, I would
and
also like
also,
to
Abhash,
respond to
regarding
Abhay.
incinerators. So I'm not sure if you were listening when Meenakshi was talking about burning. So these small incinerators, though they look like an easy solution to the problem, and they will get rid of the mountains of pads. Like it takes 500 years to degrade. Instead, if you just burn, it might seem like an easy alternative. It'll turn to ash. The ash will not smell. But the thing is, if a pad is burnt at temperatures lower than 1200 degrees Celsius, and all of these operate at 200, 300 degrees Celsius, cancerous dioxins are released. You burn a pad, you'll immediately, if you are standing next to it, you will feel that deadly toxin in the air. So in all the places where not just is earthen pot, I'm talking about hi-fi machine-like incinerators are installed in school bathrooms. Even there, I would ask you to stand there when the pads are actually being burnt. If you will automatically, your body will have this repulsive thing for that flame, that gas. Even though it's colorless, like Meenakshi said, it is still, your body will reject it. You will feel the toxins. So it is like we are giving a dose of cancer along with the pad to all our sisters and women. And it is not the first time that we have been wrong about something, right? The entire disposable pad phenomenon probably made sense at that time, but it become a monster right now, with all the evolution, with all the plastic, that is the plastic and the chemicals that are going into pads. Even if you don't burn it, even if you find a solution for the waste management, even then it's still, it's not just that the pad absorbs the blood. Our skin is absorbing all these chemicals in the pad as well. The transfer is happening two way. It's not just the pad absorbing the blood. Our skin is absorbing all the chemicals in the pad as well. So a lot of damage is already being done. Many people are reporting thyroid, PCOD. It was not there earlier. How come suddenly?
Okay,
And
Dr.
also in rural areas, people are very, very sensitive to the waste that is being produced. We at Stone Soup Trust, we have been working in the rural areas, and we have personally seen that people, there are pads lying in the villages out in the open. So when we go and talk to them about these reusable options, which they don't know actually exists in a very modern way. There's a reusable cloth pad or a menstrual cup. And when we work with these rural people, they actually adopt even more faster, is what we have seen. So as this is what we call is a concept sell. This is not a product sell. Like, I can't go to a rural area and start selling reusable cloth pad or menstrual cup. So that is where we are looking at interns from Internshala who would help us spread this awareness of sustainable menstruation, the awareness of reusable cloth pads and menstrual cups to a bigger audience. Smita, there is also a lot of question on size of the cups. Would you
Okay, 1 minute before you go on to the size.
Yes.
Unless you use it, you cannot talk about it with passion. Now you will say, Dr. Meenakshi, you're 63 years old. Have you used it? I used it for a day, even though I am menopausal. It is such a wonderful feeling. I could do yoga, and then after 5 hours, I removed the cup, and then I didn't even feel it. So I could do yoga, I could do my daily work, whatever it was, and it is really comfortable. So first, you must experience it, then you will be able to talk about it. So first you make yourself, charity begins at home. Start with yourself. Then you convert your not brothers, you convert your sisters, okay? And then you move to your friends.
Okay. Smita, about the sizes?
Yeah. So medium size is what works best for most women. Hence, most brands have only one size. That is the medium size. Some brands also have a smaller size for adolescents, and some of them have a larger size in case the vaginas are loose. But it's best, most people, recommend them to start with a medium size, 45 diameter and 50 length, around that, and that works for most people.
So the question is that if you all of us need to do what is called as Kegel's exercises or perineal exercises. We have to stop the urine mid-flow. When we stop the urine mid-flow, the muscles all contract. Now, like I told you, the vagina is flat. I don't know how to show it. Okay, the vagina is flat. And when you put the cup inside, the vagina expands. So the vagina expands as much as the cup size is. It's like the balloon. You blow lots of air into the balloon will become big. You blow little air into the balloon will be small. So this is what happens with the vagina. The whatever size you put in, it will expand to only that much. Otherwise, it's flat anteroposteriorly or front to back.
Okay. So I think I know there are a lot of questions. We will be in touch. We will take more questions from you. But right now, I would like to move on to this internshala. What is this internship about? I would like to share my screen. So this is a program between India Welfare Trust, Internshala, and stonesoup.in. So week one, we had the session on period love, bleed green. There will be, as I told in the beginning of this session, there will be a simple test. We will be circulating a questionnaire. We would request all of you to take the questionnaire, and if you get more than 80%, you will get a link to join a WhatsApp group, or depending on the numbers, probably a Telegram group. Week two, we want to make this interesting. We want to, go on to the social media and talk a lot about sustainable menstruation, and we have put some thoughts into it. Week two, we would like you to do a vox pop. For people who don't know vox pop, this is like a quick questions that you go out on the road and ask people, right? We want people to be aware about, the sanitary disposable sanitary napkins. As Dr. Meenakshi and Smita emphasized, we now know that disposable sanitary napkins are made up of everything but cotton. So we want to know whether people are actually aware of it. So the vox pop will be about, you'll ask questions like, what is the pad made up of? Why is the pad so thin? How can it absorb moisture? Where are all the ingredients in the pad? What are all the ingredients in the pad? And we also want to work towards telling the government to ask the manufacturers of disposable sanitary pads to list down what are all the ingredients that are used in the pads. If you know, right now, none of these manufacturers list down what are the ingredients in a disposable sanitary pads. So we want, you to steer us towards that change. So week 2, we will be doing a small vox pop. We will also be telling you whom to tag. You can tag your local MP. Of course, you have to tag stonesoup.in and intern Shala and other people in this program, and also tag 5 women you know, so that the awareness becomes big. On during week 3, we will be sharing some TED Talks with you. TED Talk by Smita, TED Talk by Dr. Meenakshi Bharat. And if you're a girl, we request you to change to a menstrual cup. Start using a reusable pad. If you're already doing so, we request you to donate this to someone around you. If you're a boy, as Meenakshi had already said, please donate this to any 1 or 2 women in your family. Ask them for their feedback after they use the same. So week 3 is all about, us changing, you changing into menstrual cup, into sustainable period care options. Week 4, sorry, I think there was a small error. Week 4, we want you to donate reusable menstrual cup or reusable cloth pad to at least 5 people. Do an education session for 10 women. We will be sharing the education things, the presentation or the videos with you during week 5. Week 6, you can do a meme on sustainable menstruation. You can do a fundraiser to donate reusable pads or share SM posters on sustainable menstruation on your social media page. So this is a 5-week program that we have thought for you, where you will be taking this awareness on sustainable menstruation to a wider audience. So as step 1, tomorrow we will be circulating a small questionnaire, and we would expect you to fill up those questionnaire, and people who get more than 70-80% will be into this internship program. I hope you love this session. If you have any doubts about this internship, you can type it. I'll just give you another 2 minutes to see if there are any questions. Otherwise, I think we would be ending the session. Okay, I don't see any questions on the internship program on YouTube or on Zoom. Okay, after completing our session, what do we get? Yes, thank you for that question. You would be getting a certificate of completion saying that you have interned with Internshala and Stone Soup in the area of sustainable menstruation. And we will
I think there's one question that is there being asked about wrongly using the cup, which will result in prolapse. Now, prolapse is not, sorry, I need to unmute myself. Prolapse is the uterus coming down up to the introitus, that is the opening of the vagina, and sometimes coming down. Now this cup does not, so you are, when you're removing it, you press it down like this, release the vacuum and then pull it out. So you don't pull it out without releasing the vacuum. Understand that this does not produce enough vacuum to pull the uterus down. The uterus is held by very strong ligaments from the front, from the sides, from the back. And the uterus only prolapses most often after age 60, when all your muscles in the pelvis are becoming weak because lack of estrogen, because you are menopausal or because I am menopausal, right? So it doesn't happen. That is a wrong article that was presented by the physiotherapists in England. So don't go for it. It doesn't work. There are go and speak to a urogynecologist and ask them the same question. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much for being with us. It was wonderful meeting you all. By tomorrow, I will circulate the questionnaire on the Internshala chat page. See you soon. Thank you,
Thank you.
Meenakshi. Thank you, Smita, for being with us. Smita, you're talking, but you're muted. Should I? Okay, sorry. Yeah. Yes.
Thank you for joining the live session. I see a lot of interaction both on Zoom as well as YouTube. Really, really appreciate, and especially, special thanks to all the boys who have joined. All the, it really takes courage in our country. We just whisper about this, we don't talk. So totally appreciate your interest, your enthusiasm to actually do something in this sphere. Counting on all of you to help us spread the word. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye. Good night, everybody.